I was at a beach rocking my brand new super cool Birkenstocks, feeling like the king of comfort. Then, disaster. A rogue wave comes crashing in, soaking my precious Birks, and I stumble right into some kid's sandcastle. And the moment I got up, there was a musclehead in his tank tops staring into my soul. He was the kid's father, and he was totally going to beat the crap out of me. But wait, then comes my girlfriend to the rescue, offers the child a pack of Skittles, and saves the day. And then I realized I don't have a girlfriend and I made that all up. But what I do have is a pair of these fabulous Birkenstocks and a mind-bogglingly delicious pack of Skittles, all for myself. It made me think, how do they even make these super comfy sandals? And those perfectly chewy fruity Skittles? Forget the beach bummer, we're going on a double feature factory tour. Get ready for machines, materials, and a whole lot of sugar. Let's see how this stuff really gets made. First stop, Birkenstock. We're talking about the ones with that special foot-shaped bed. So where do they even start? No, not with magic, that's for sure. It begins with smart people designing them on computers. These are the Birkenstock shoemasters, if you will. They plan out every bit of the sandal. They use the special computer tools to make each part to be very precise. They use digital images that show the sandal from all angles, in 3D of course. They actually watch how feet move when people walk and stand. They figure out how to make the sandals support your foot perfectly, even if you're wearing them all day long. Before making loads of sandals, they build test versions. They're called prototypes. To build prototypes fast, they use a special rapid prototyping machine. Yeah, no more days where you use wood. These test sandals get walked in, bent, and stretched to make sure that the real sandals will last. If this early version passes the test, great. Only after, the real work of making thousands of shoes starts. Once the design is locked in, Birkenstock needs to gather up everything that goes into the sandal. Imagine a room overflowing with materials. Leathers, cork, and buckles all over. They have to find everything that will later turn into shoes. Birkenstock looks all around the world. They require a specific type of cork from Portugal, best type of leathers, and soft soles for comfort. The company even uses this jute material, the same used to create ropes. Birkenstock checks everything before using it. Leather gets tested for how strong and bendy it is. Cork is examined to see if it crumbles easily or is solid. Anything that doesn't pass the test does not enter the main door. This step makes sure every sandal lives up to the Birkenstock name. Ever wondered how they get that famous footbed shape? It's not just random. There's a really cool material involved that you might already have in your kitchen. Now that all the super tested parts are ready, it's time to cut them out perfectly. It all comes down to very special cutting machines. Powerful lasers cut out some of the materials. Lasers cut perfect edges without tearing anything. This means no rough spots on the finished sandal. Other parts need something called a die cutting machine. It's used for tough materials like metal buckles. This works like a giant cookie cutter. Sharp metal shapes stamp out the pieces very precisely. Cutting the materials into specific shapes might not feel super high tech, but if you don't do it perfectly, your shoes, well, won't fit, won't look good, or will break fast. They have to cut the shapes just like a drawing so that there's no chance to get anything wrong. Precise cutting matters because the final outcome, a durable sandal, well, requires it. But how do they keep all those tiny pieces organized? It's like a puzzle with hundreds of parts, and there's a very specific way to make sure they all end up in the right place. So after cutting, it's time to build the part your foot rests on, the footbed. This part is super important for how the sandal feels. let's explore how they mold that footbed part. It's a combination of ground-up cork and natural latex, which comes from trees. The mix-up cork and latex get poured into molds. These molds are shaped exactly like the final footbed. A top layer gets put on to make it nice and soft. A powerful press squeezes the mold super hard, and this sets everything in place. Then another pressing happens to glue the soft cover. Now a little heat does the job. The heat makes the whole mixture solidify. Think of it as making a super strong and bendy clay dough. Not the same as regular clay though. After some baking time, out pops the footbed. Perfect shape, all ready for the rest of the sandal. Once the footbed is cool and firm, the other layers start joining the party. This is how they combine the different layers together, using glue, jute, and many more. Jute is the key now. See those layers in the bottom of your Birk? Yeah, those are the ones. This natural, strong fiber has a main role. One jute layer soaks up a special white glue. The cork gets put right on top, a second jute layer goes underneath. This sandwich of glue and fiber connects the footbed's cork to the tough sole that touches the ground. To put these parts together, they use a giant rolling press. It pushes out any air and really sticks the glue. It is made so that the glue bonds all the components well together. Now the shoe is forming into shape, just a little away from its completion. The outer sole that provides the support isn't just plain rubber. There's something surprising added to make them last way longer and keep you from slipping. Now that the layers are holding on, the shape starts coming together, but we're still not close to finished. Time for the sides. Here is where those raw, unfinished sides get their final shape and texture. Large rolling grinders take off all the excess. They work kind of like sandpaper. To perfect a smooth design on the sides, this step is a must. The machines make the sandal's edges smooth and round. This is super important because sharp edges could hurt your feet. Different edges require a slightly different angle or grit. Making all the sandals look alike requires extreme precision. Now with the footbed and outsole together, it's finally shaping into a wearable Birkenstock. Time for the top, and this is how they attach the top part, straps and all. Different Birks have different tops. Some have simple straps, some have buckles, some cover most of your foot, different sandals, different sets of tools to, apply. Strong glues are used to connect the leather straps to the footbed, and skilled workers use small tools to perfectly place everything into place, like setting the angle to position the straps. If there are buckles, special machines are required. They attach the buckles to the stamps and ensure a perfect working of a buckle. Gluing and clamping have to be done the right way to provide, adjustability to custom fit everyone's needs. After all, this is how the shoe completes its look. And now they have to double check everything. Workers do the final inspection. Are the stitches correct? Are the straps glued perfectly? Well, they check the smallest of flaws, as it's critical for customer satisfaction that, every customer gets the same fit and comfort. Ever notice how different Birkenstock styles have different feels? It's a small detail in the way they put the upper together that makes a big difference. Finally, a quick check is given to quality inspection and sent for wrapping, and then gets boxed up. This step keeps your new sandals from getting damaged, dirty, and scuffed. Ready sandals are placed in the special Birkenstock shoe boxes, that blueprint box. It has all the brand detailing. Tissue papers are folded inside the sandals, which helps them to maintain their shapes. The right and left sandals must stay with their partner. You wouldn't want to wear two different sizes at a time, would you? A label is a must, so, everyone knows which model, color, and size the sandals are. The boxes then go in giant crates, then to warehouses and shops. Making sandals is an elaborate process, who would have thought? That's the end of the journey, the full technical story of how the legendary Birks are made. And yeah, they have factories not only in Germany but also in Portugal. From the smart designing part, shaping of the footbed, then hand assembly of the straps to packaging of the final shoe, every small thing requires attention and specific steps. They also believe a lot in giving their local workers training to let them do their, of course, best work. Now, hold on tight. We were in the world of comfy, supportive sandals. Now let's switch things up. After having one great slide, all we need is delicious Skittles. Remember my beach plan for eating Skittles? The smooth journey continues. Yeah, I mentioned those mouth-watering rainbow candies, right? It's time we look into the process of making them. Where do these bright Skittles begin their life? Well, of course, with all of its important ingredients. This section is all about what stuff goes inside Skittles. The top layer? Well, you probably would have guessed it, sugar. The core of everything tasty and what holds its texture. Corn syrup is used for more sweetness and chewy texture. Then there's palm oil. This gives Skittles their special texture. The flavors. It's the combination of artificial and natural flavors, and it's very natural to imagine orange for that classic orange flavor. The fun colors come next, from special food dyes, a vibrant purple and yellow. The dyes have to go under the tests, ensuring to be safe to be eaten. The right amount of chemicals and compounds has to match, the safety standards. After a precise formula is ready with all of its main components, a super detailed weighing happens. It's more important than mixing dough for cookies at home. Every flavor should have its perfect consistency. Now, all these weighed out ingredients head to massive cookers. This is where the sugar and syrup get transformed into something magical. Everything, the sugar, water, glucose, gets added in the tanks, and stirring constantly never lets it get sticky. Next comes a special cooling belt to chill everything down. This sets the base texture for our Skittles candy from super hot to cool, and now it's easy to work with the base texture of the candy. It's still one huge piece of candy at this stage. This is a crucial step. Now comes all the different flavors and those bright colors we love. The flavor gets separated out in specific portions. It's divided into several different streams. A different combination goes into each part. One part gets citrusy lemon and zesty. The green would have sour apples, it's different combinations of flavor and another flavor. Once the flavors are set, a separate coloring area comes in. The dyes match every color. The big candy mixture now looks like many different colored Play-Dohs, and you cannot combine one flavor combination to another. Now a clever part comes into picture. How to make the big candies into perfect bite-sized pieces. So we've got all these separate candy colors. How do they get those perfect little round shapes before they get the hard shell? There's a special trick that has to do with starch. The flavoring and colored parts get loaded into separate machines called formers. Long ropes of candy pass through the openings. This forms those chewy, round Skittles. They all ride a conveyor belt for their next treatment. Then they land on the trays with little pockets shaped as, how a Skittle looks like. Then comes the stage that involves loads of cornstarch, and now we know what these trays filled with Skittles are for. Why? Well, the starch acts as molds for those centers of the Skittles. These starch molds have to be fresh every single time because of that machine stamping the shapes. Cornstarch being not sticky helps those candies to keep their shape. It also removes extra stickiness, and the starch is reusable. And now comes our candy shapes into these pockets. Now is when these big ropes of fruity soft Skittles finally start looking bite-sized, like little discs of color and flavor. It's a very, very important step for when those centers chill and get even more solid, and also where they're cooled. Candies are needed to be perfect in shape before they can move to another main treatment. Think of those tiny Skittle centers, how they look, set in a large tray. After enough time has passed, now those trays get tipped and shaken, and those fresh S shapes pop out easily and move ahead by the starch, of course. To make every perfect batch of candy centers, they need a very large area to rest. They cannot be rushed. These fresh-shaped candies travel onwards for the last magic step. Time for Skittles' famous shell. This is what gives the crunch we're familiar with, the color that makes a visual treat. Imagine rotating pans and huge ones called the panning machines. Those little colorful Skittles inside go tumbling around inside. Now comes the ingredient for coating. The shiny sweet liquids of color are slowly drizzled on. Imagine making a colored dough and making multiple batches of those. They have the same color combinations for that perfect flavor. The shiny white S on every Skittle isn't printed on after the candy is made. It's a much cooler and surprising step. All the tumbles give time to start hardening on those chewy centers, and when this layer is ready, it's time for the magic S application. A special machine puts on those signature S's, but before the candy is finished making. See those candy colors we mentioned just now? This S logo happens in between those colorful coats very quickly. It needs a perfectly edible white ink, and every S imprint needs to dry or it can just vanish off. After more tumbling with a new colored mixture, S gets protected and the shiny finish sets. The new coat now holds and covers that S. Then comes a new surprise. Ever wonder why all Skittles look glossy and, attractive? It's because of an edible food-grade wax. Now a final wax covering sets to work, giving that high gloss polished look. To keep the Skittles flavors fresh and maintain the candy textures, this step comes in. Those tasty little buttons aren't quite done. After all, we want bags full of colors and they combine from many individual candies. This sorting part needs very sharp technology. It's way more than colors alone. They test texture too, and the shape as well. There are certain standards for candies, how each candy looks, its texture. If even the slightest defect occurs, it gets sent back and sorted into a rework pile. And this is where all of those candies from separate flavors get a ride to packaging. The perfectly mixed candies are filled in a measured amount for standard Skittles bag size. A mixed assortment gets into a bag, a red, a yellow, a purple, all the signature flavors inside that packaging. The bags also keep candies away from air and moisture to avoid spoiling. It protects them so a Skittle in one bag tastes the same as another. These cartons then make their journey to be sold. And that's how the iconic Skittles are made. That's the sweet end to our factory tour. Whoa, two big stories. From big chunks of raw materials into shoes and loads of sweet colors and tastes into delicious candy, they took two totally different processes. You know what's even more awesome than fresh Skittles and a new shoe? You clicking on that subscribe button for new video alerts and of course that like button. I hope all these long stories didn't feel too long. If you're more interested now in having Skittles or buying Birkenstock, I don't judge you. Which process caught more of your attention? How shoes are made or the candy? We have many more deep insides ready for you. Check them out. Thanks for watching.